Good evening and welcome to the August 14th, 2023 meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen. We have just come out of a paperwork review and we'd like to start this meeting off with everyone rising. Pledge allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have a big crowd in tonight.
They're all dressed in the same color.
Do we want to do that first before we get into the regular stuff? Review and consent? Okay, cool. So that way they don't have to waste their time listening to us banter. So, under business, we have a swearing in of a firefighter, EMT, Mr. Sean Enright. Chief, I'll turn it over to you, Chief.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Doug,
Hi.
welcome.
So I have before you tonight, we've been trying since I left at the end of April to fill the full-time firefighter EMT position. It took a while to find somebody, and I'm proud to announce that tonight we have Sean Enright, who is originally from Londonderry but has lived in town for the last 2 years, filling the position. He's a graduate of the University of Rhode Island, has a degree in communications. He's been on our on-call fire department for 2 years now. He also is the 11th full-time firefighter that the town has had in the 37-year history of having full-time firefighters in the community. And this will mark the first time since 2006 that your fire chief and both your full-time firefighters live in town.
Like that.
That's what we wanted.
I think we met him before.
Oh, she's like swearing at people.
She thought she was gonna lose her job because I did the last couple.
I know. Back off.
No problem.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, raise your right hand. Sean, do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform the duties incumbent upon you as a full-time firefighter EMT according to the best of your abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and the state of New Hampshire, so help you God?
I do.
Just sign there for me, please. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll have Sean's mom, Sharon, come up and do the pinning.
Yeah.
Don't be kind.
I was in the military, I know how to do it.
Join the club. Stick it to him.
Nice.
Very good. No hug? Send you the pictures.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And for anybody that's here, if you'd like to come back to the fire station for some refreshments.
You're gonna go
Thank you so
Boston?
much.
Save us some.
All right. I will.
Been a long night.
All right, thank you.
And then
Gonna shake our hands, young man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mom and Dad.
I met you at the garden, right?
Welcome to Camp Litchfield.
Thank you.
Thank you, welcome.
What part of town?
Here 3 years.
What part of town did you, what part of town? Which street?
We've been busy at the house.
Londonderry, to here, right?
All right, if you guys would like, fire.
Sounds good, thank you.
I probably inspected,
Have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I probably inspected their house.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Gentlemen.
And nice seeing you.
And then we have one other appointment, right? George Wolf?
Yes, Mr. Wolf.
Is that who's in the back of the room?
Yes.
And we signed it already, right?
Mr. Wolf? Yes. Okay, good. We'll do you, so you don't have to sit through all this also. Appointment of George Wolf to the Litchfield Energy Committee. Come on up and take a seat, George. Yeah. Tell the viewers at home who you are. Why you want this job.
Well, I recently retired and I moved to Litchfield about 2 years ago. So I moved from New York. I've been in the energy industry since 1985, starting with Consolidated Edison in New York. I was a principal R&D engineer there for 10 years. I worked on distributed generation, renewable energy. I've been on product development side of the house, utility side of the house, contractor. Most recent assignments and responsibilities were handling large multi-megawatt projects. They were all renewable energy, wave energy in particular. Brought in $70 million in grant funding to support these projects. I handled a commercial pipeline of $50 million in over 80 projects. That was in my second to last job. My most recent job, I was working in the carbon capture industry, direct air capture. I have 3 major accomplishments there, most of which were focused on developing the performance models, because these are very temperature-sensitive types of technologies. Also turn around and prep the company for due diligence. I have very strong contract experience working on a specific contract with this company for a major e-fuel project, which they eventually won.
Very nice. Sounds like he's qualified.
You know anything about Eversource?
A little bit.
Okay.
I've been on both sides of the utility discussion, so
Yeah, I can
I've
hear
had
that.
experience with the, when we were doing distributed generation about 20 years ago, figuring out what the best way to structure tariffs before the commissions
Right.
got in. I worked in the New York State non-technical working group for distributed generation. I was a little surprised by my last Eversource bill, to say the least. I saw that town is looking at a community energy, so it's looking at the spark spreads, and again, my son just bought a house in Brookline, so he was showing me his solar contract. And again, one of the opportunities there for any community is turning around, instead of throwing the power back on the grid, pulling it into an energy storage so that you get a better rate, in other words, you're not paying the utility rates. So, yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with
Yeah, I can hear it.
utilities up there.
I think we have a very interesting group.
Yeah,
So
We do.
I shared with Mr. Wolf the link to the last meeting, and I think with Mr. Terrell and Mr. Olson and
Yeah, thank you. That was very helpful. It helped me prep for the meeting.
great group.
I don't think we have one.
So we need a motion to appoint
Yes,
him.
please.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead. Jim?
Oh, you, good, ladies.
Ladies first.
All right, I will make a motion to approve. I have to learn your name, I'm sorry.
It's
Give me
okay.
1 second. Where is he?
Scroll down a little.
Sorry, George Wolf, right?
Yep.
I will make a motion to approve George Wolf for our Energy Commission.
I'll second it.
And a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you very much. Does he
Thank
have
you.
to be sworn
Wondering
in?
while he's here and while our town clerk is
Swear him in right
here,
here?
Hey.
if we
Look at
may.
this. We got double duty tonight.
Thank you.
She's gifted.
All right, George. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform the duties incumbent upon you as a member of the Energy Committee according to the best of your abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and the state of New Hampshire, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, so I'm going to have you sign here, please.
Sure.
All right. And I'll get you a copy of this too. Do it. 14th.
Yes.
And I'll send you an email, but we have scheduled our next meeting for September 21st.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Very good. And welcome aboard, and thank you for
Appreciate it.
wanting
Thank you,
very
thank
much.
you.
Look forward
Thank
to
you.
it. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks again.
Bye, Terry.
We have electrical, fossil,
Yeah.
nuclear.
And he's only been in town for a short time.
We got everybody.
Really?
So, now we can go into our other stuff, right? That's it, right? Yep, we have department heads here, so, okay. So, we have a review and approval of consent items. We have an AP manifest from August 1st, 2023, in the amount of $1,392.57. And from August 8th, 2023, in the amount of $114,851.11. And August 15th, 2023, in the amount of $33,070.18. We have payroll manifest for August 3rd, 2023, in the amount of $53,639.86. For August 10th, 2023, in the amount of $52,876.91. And August 17th, 2023, in the amount of $56,949.57. We have the treasurer's reconciliation for June 2023, the tax collector reconciliation for July 2023, and the town clerk's reconciliation for July 2023. We have a purchase order, fire department, Bergeron Protective for $18,255.36.
Protective gear.
That's the protective equipment, right?
Yep.
Okay, yep.
Yep, protective gear.
For people at home. Easement to Eversource at 13.5 Brickyard, map 9, lot 42, as approved at the meeting June 26, 2023. And we have a communication from Amber Flint. Should we read that publicly?
Would you like that read?
Would you like to?
I think it would
Should
be
we read
fine.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, you give it to
Very
me.
nice.
It says, "Thank you. Dear Board of Selectmen, thank you so much for your support and assistance in making the 4th of July parade and car show a reality this year. Looking forward to working with you all again in the future. Sincerely, Amber Flint." It's very nice. Thank you, Amber. So is there anything anybody would like removed or have any questions on any of these items? No? If so, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items.
A motion from Ms. Queenan.
I will second.
We have a second from Mr. Gannon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 400. I'm assuming you voted yes.
Yeah, I shook my head, I'm sorry. I was reading.
Request for additional items and other business. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45 PM. So since it's now 6:49 PM, we will open it to public input. Any members of the public? No one's coming forward, so we will close public input at 6:50. All right, let's see, next up. We have approval of, under normal business, approval of the minutes for July 10th, 2023. Anybody have any amendments or anything for them? I think they're all right. We have the approval for the July 24th, 2023 minutes. It was good with everybody too, all right? We have purchase from the cable revolving
You want
fund.
to, we should make a motion to approve those first, right?
You want to do that?
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for July 10th, 2023, and the meeting minutes for July 24th, 2023.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon, second from Mr. Lynch. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Now, we'll do the purchase of the cable revolving fund of $10,678 for Continental Resources. What is that?
So we
Oh,
actually.
John's here. Hi,
Yeah,
John.
We actually asked Mr. Brunel to join us to speak
Okay.
to it.
Okay. Because he knows.
I wrote the request.
Oh, perfect.
Good evening.
You got it.
So the request is to purchase what they call a codec. But it's basically, it's a piece of equipment that we're going to use in this facility to improve the workflow for presentations and bringing in the video into our broadcast system. It's replacing a bunch of older equipment we have. The funding is coming out of our revolving fund, of which there's $115,000 plus in there today. And so that's what it's for. It's a continuing, we are continuing to do the improvements as we've agreed to do with the franchise agreement and all that stuff. So,
Anybody have any questions for him? You have the money, so you're good.
yeah, funding's not an issue.
Perfect. Okay. So, all right, so we need a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve to purchase from the cabling revolving fund for $10,678 for Continental Resources for a codec.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Gannon. Second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Ms. Queen. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Thank you. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you.
Next up, approval of the job description for the chief of police. Ms. Kleiner.
So, both on the portal and earlier this evening, I distributed to you a draft of the chief of police job description. There's been several of us who have given input to this, and then a lot was taken from the prior job description. If I understand correctly, from a couple members, there's a couple of amendments on the second page, 3/4 of the way down.
Yep.
Just a better description of the department's police manual, have policy procedures.
Rules and regulations, yep.
And then also there was one regarding the New Hampshire certification to allow out-of-state
Yep.
certified officers who can complete the law package and
Within
join.
6 months, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is all. We would need a motion. I will finalize it, put it on our website and get it to MRI.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the Town of Litchfield Chief of Police job description,
As amended?
as amended, 2 amendments, yes.
Very good. We have a motion from Ms. Queen.
I'll second it.
Second from Mr. Gannon. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Thank you. Request to apply to the DERA/New Hampshire Clean Diesel / Granite State Clean Fleets Grant Program.
Did we
Fine.
miss one? Or is that not listed in your agenda?
It's on the agenda, but it's not listed in there. So what's that have to do with?
Ah,
It's there.
so,
It's under
Oh,
business,
yeah, there it is.
number 7.
Yeah, and it's
Request
down,
for the
it's down
apply.
below.
yes, there's one missing. So there is an item missing. We had a request for a hawkers and peddlers.
Yep.
Someone would so
I
make a
read that.
motion to, it was on your portal.
It was.
Okay.
Could we make
Oh,
a,
for the hawkers and peddlers license
Correct.
for
Yes.
smoking spanks?
Mm-hmm.
could we
Did
make,
everybody see that
Yep.
partway down? So we have to approve their peddler's license.
so I'll give you a little bit of background on that if the board so pleases to accept it. Effective September 1st, interesting, the state statute requiring a state license
Mm-hmm.
has been removed.
Really?
So there is no state hawker and peddler license.
Up to the
Cities
town?
and towns can still
Okay.
allow for the requirement for local licenses.
Okay.
So the one that has come forward, and this has come forward before, and we have spoken about it, I think the staff has done a very thorough review of this application. So this is for Smoke and Spanks Barbecue, which is going to have a location at 517 Charles Bancroft Highway. There is a letter from the landowner
Yep.
giving him permission. We pulled the site plan for that location. We gave the site plan to planning, to the planning coordinator. The health officer has reviewed all of the state health information.
Mhm.
Police Department has done a very thorough background check. And the staff would like to request your approval of a license for 1 year for Kevin Engdahl, DBA Smoke and Spanks Barbecue.
And what's the address, what's the address, I can't remember. Is that, Mills?
Is it across from
No,
us?
across from
Five
us,
seventeen
yes.
Charles Bancroft, so I'm
It's
guessing.
Mr.
it's probably
Charbonneau's
the old
property.
place.
The
The
old,
blue building? That would be my guess.
He has doesn't he have his own?
There's
mobile
nothing there.
trailer?
It's a
yes,
trailer.
he has a trailer.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge parking lot, there's no blue
Correct.
building.
Yeah, the big building in the backside.
Oh, that belongs to Mills, right there.
Mel's owns that?
Yep.
Craig's old garage?
Yep.
Okay,
Oh, Craig's old garage we referring to?
yeah, next to his.
Oh,
old
I'm
house.
sorry. Yep. I got no problem with that. There's plenty of room.
So it's the old garage?
Yep.
Yeah, next to
It's
Craig's
his
old
back.
house, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Craig's old place.
Across the street from Edwards Garage, I believe.
Yep.
All right.
I'm thinking of Spooky Will.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the hawklers and peddlers license for Smoke and Spanks barbecues for 1 year. The Kevin Ankle, what'd you say, DBA, what is this?
Yeah,
Doing
DBA,
business
yeah,
as.
Doing business as, yeah.
DBA.
Very good, we have a motion from Mr. Gannon,
I'll second.
and a second from Ms. Queenan. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 400. Oh, I should tell everyone at home that Mr. Weber, Steve Weber, is not here tonight. He's away on work. So his chair is empty. We miss him. Hope he's enjoying North Carolina.
It's cool down there.
It's probably cooler than up here. Okay, so next thing, so now we have the DERA, the Hampshire Clean Diesel Granite State Clean Fleets Grant Program. Okay.
Through our work, through the town's work with TTAC, which is a committee that sits with NRPC, we've become aware of a grant opportunity. There's DERA, New Hampshire Clean Diesel, and then there's Granite State Clean Fleets, two different types of paths for the grants to flow through. Working with Mr. Brown, your road agent, we've identified two vehicles, a 2000 International and our 2009 International, which are Class 8 over,
Over 30,000 pounds.
right. And so we would like permission from the board to move forward with applying for the grant. There is a 20% match from the town. It's only 80% funding from the state. But there is a member at NRPC who will assist us with writing and applying for the grant. What it's looking at is the grants are due by October 13th, so it's a very quick turnaround. And then we should have at least some initial word before the budget would be wrapped up, because one of these vehicles would be, perhaps be something we'd look at through the budget process if the grant doesn't. But this is something that I know the TTAC committee really encouraged us to apply for.
May I ask a question? The third bullet under there says 95% of the funding for replacing the old diesel vehicles with electric vehicles. It says including the charger, infrastructure, and installation. Do they need to build a
No,
charger?
no, there's also a separate lot for diesel trucks in the Class 8 category.
Okay,
So either or.
because they can be expensive. I didn't know
Yeah,
if they
no.
were including
Yeah.
a conduit. Okay.
We have the money, the remaining money available to, if these grants are approved.
Working with the budget, as we look at the budget, we would, because there is a lease payment in the road agent's budget that ends in 2023. If we were to continue that forward, which would require a warrant article, we could get the 20% match through a warrant article, which would fit under the cap.
We'd also possibly be able to use the public works fund.
Could use that as well. But we would not go for the electric vehicles unless it was the pleasure of the board. That was not what we were charging your snowplows.
Okay. I don't think it hurts to apply.
I agree with this. I think it's common sense to extend out, to look for other sources to help fund. And this is one good way of doing it. Other towns have done the same thing. It's where it worked out well for them. I would recommend this. I would like to make a motion that we go forward with it.
I'll second.
We have a second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? You guys think? Good, good, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Very good. Good luck. All right, so what else we got? Oh. Looks like budget.
Oh,
We do. We have the budget.
Oh, happy over there.
So there are pieces to the budget that
Pieces of
we
the
do
budget.
not have. But like other years, we'll start where we are. The library,
Get on
is
it.
still working on their budget, which, will have to flow through the library trustees. I did prepare, a memo, that was sent back to you on the 8th, and it's on the portal for the public. Interestingly enough, and I think something that we have to keep our eye on, which may also be heading into 2024, is when we are determining how much impact the budget will have upon the tax rate, you take into consideration any changes in your assessments. So, in prior years, they used 8 million as a benchmark. And last year, Karen and I discussed it, and we lowered that to 4. Well, we didn't quite make that. So this year, because I don't think you're going to see substantial growth between now and April 1st, 2024, I think we should bring it down to 2. I am looking to see one more piece, which is the final assessments on the utilities, which will be everything's reported for September 1st on your MS1, but the utilities aren't in yet. Right now, the residential is in, not sure how the utilities will go. There was House Bill 700 that required a change in assessments for utilities back in 2018. Most communities saw a decline in the assessments of utilities because of that House bill, but Litchfield has had substantial work done on the lines here, especially Eversource. So that may not necessarily be true for us. Mr. Roberge from Avatar was hopeful to get something to me within the next couple weeks to be able to finalize that, and at worst, we'd know September 1st. So that's a piece of it. I did put a link to a spreadsheet where we're tracking those assessments in the budget. We have included a lot of links in the budget so that you can look at other things that we talked about between last year and this year. One was, I know last year when we were talking about the increase to the tax cap, we spoke a lot about the inflation indicators and the CPIU. So I'm happy to say that has really come down, and you're not seeing the high inflation that you were seeing 1 year ago. But it's still something that we keep a watch on as an economic indicator. So when I wrote this, last Tuesday, we were about 282,700 over the cap. Well, sad to say, we didn't go in the right direction. Now we're about 292,872 over the cap. The cap now being calculated at 5% over the last year's amount raised by taxes. So that was the passing of the tax cap amendment last year. We're looking at, increases to head counts is one item that we have to look at. I want to say I've had a conversation with legal counsel. There was a position cut last year from the police budget. We strongly recommend that is put back in. And we figure in September, so you'll see that put back in. Legal counsel would be glad to come speak to that if we so need. So I gave, and I don't want to go through and give a spot by spot, but there are a number of items that aren't in. Health insurance, property insurance, the ambulance and dispatch contracts, we are still in negotiation with the town of Hudson. We're working on the health agency's requests. Those are the requests from charities that ask for our assistance. That requires us to call in a outside group of people to help us assist and rank those for you. I'm waiting on a new number from the Melanson contract, your auditors that were here a couple weeks ago. The cemetery trustees asked that I write an RFP for cemetery ground maintenance. I did write the RFP and I've just given it to them for their review. So that number may not be locked in place. And then, of course, the library budget, which we just spoke about. So there's a few departments that have some very valid requests. Karen and I were speaking today. I think, we have some recommendations to get you down closer to the cap, none of which anyone is going to like. And none are things that aren't needed. But I think we can make some headway, but I would, again, recommend we speak to the department heads. Their department's much better than.
This is just the beginning step right now.
It is. A lot more to come.
You're setting me up for a fun budget process.
It's always my recommendation, if you can get it here, take it here. Because the budget committee has to come under the cap, and they will look for, as you know, Chair, they will find everything they possibly can. So if we can get them closer to the number, I think we're much better off. So tonight, and down below there is, and I'll leave it up, I'll actually move it up on the portal. Tonight, the group before you starts with town meeting and town clerk.
Are they present?
Really?
Okay. Welcome back.
Good news.
We need more money.
It all started a few years ago when somebody put a warrant article in, that's all it did.
How's everybody doing?
Doing fine.
Like everywhere else.
Budget was the first thing on my mind when I came back from vacation.
Sure.
And it started with, oh boy, I get to do the budget. That's it.
Why, thank you.
Right.
All right,
Let it rip.
let her rip.
You start.
All right. So, this year, we went from, I think we had one election this year. In 2023, we have, 4 elections next year in 2024. So that increases, this budget quite a bit.
You're doing town meeting right
What's that?
now. You're doing town meeting right now.
We're doing town meeting, right? Yeah. There you are.
I go right to the bottom to see how much we've raised it.
Yeah, don't even, I mean, yeah.
It's all right, you should start there. And then we'll explain why it gets there.
Right.
That would be good, right now.
And then it's not a shock at the end, it's a shock at the beginning.
That's what it is.
It's gonna be a reality here. We're just-
You're taking a
we have to do it.
surprise out of this.
Unfortunately, it's, when you go from one election to 4, it's obviously gonna change.
Yep.
I mean, aside from that, our biggest change is the request for new voting machines. Because as you know, we have very old equipment that needs to be replaced. We finally are being given options, whereas for years, we've been waiting for the options to even be able to purchase them. And now they're becoming more of a reality. The question on timing of when they get here is still a little up in the air, but I think it was appropriate to ask for the money at this point in time because we need them. We need to keep up with the times. It's unfortunate.
Well, anyone that's ever operated those machines, like we have the last few years, and watch how many times they jam and you're on your hands and knees pulling them out and, yeah. They need it. I don't disagree with
They're
that.
from the 80s.
Yep. And that's that from the 80s?
Yeah, those are the great originals.
And they still, I mean, they're still working machines. They're, you know, when I went to, Laura and I went to Concord to check out and put our vote in for the ones that we thought would be good machines for the town. There were 4 to start, 1 backed out. There was 3 of machines that we went and did a thorough, they did everything on them, and we put in our vote. LHS, who we have now, who's maintained the machines, is the company that is my first choice for a machine, because their service, they're right out of Salem, and I know in the years that I've been doing this, I've had a few issues with the machine where the memory card went or something happened and they came right down and, you know, dealt with the situation. So, the machines are, I think both these machines are, $6,000. It's a yearly maintenance of $300, which that doesn't really change because we have had maintenance on these machines that we have now. So it's just the cost of the new machine and the box, and that's what the machine and the cost are running for each of these. So,
So on the plus side, we originally planned on 7,000 per. They're 1,000 less each. That's a plus side, right?
But they're being sunsetted, right?
Was that
Bit of savings is good.
2 years? So they're being sunsetted.
There's one.
yes, the machines that we have now, after first they were saying 2 years, and then this demonstration that we went to, the state was saying that they were only gonna support these machines until 2020, the end of 2024. So we're not sure if these machines are even gonna be available for the elections in 2024 yet. They still have to get them out to all the towns and get the training done and get all that done. So we are putting them into the budget with the hopes that they are ready for at least for the presidential. But we're not sure what's gonna happen yet.
Because as you know, and as you've already said, that is, we're constantly battling these machines. And when we have the presidential election, I mean, our numbers were huge last time. So I almost hate to say this before you even have discussion, but in reality, they're in the budget because we need them and they need to happen. But in my opinion, this is a perfect example of something that you earmark for end-of-year funds because it's a one-time expense. And I'm not telling you how to do your job. I'm just making sure you remember that because I think it's a perfect example of how to do end-of-year funds.
You stole my thunder.
Sorry.
It's in our recommendation.
But I mean, we have to try to account for them in the budget
Yep.
only because we're gonna need these things.
I agree, you do need them.
So, aside from that, you'll notice that we're raising the wages for the ballot clerks. Reasoning for that is at $9.55 an hour, it's becoming extremely difficult to get people to come out and do that job.
Yep.
And especially next year, having the presidential, we need to make sure we can get people. $15 an hour is what the request is in surrounding towns to be bringing it to. And we just came up with that number as it's a fair wage.
It's what McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts is paying, so
They pay more than that, actually.
Some places do.
So
I don't think that's a bad request.
we have a benefit that a lot of times we get some people that'll come in and won't even fill in a timesheet. But we have to allow for the money to be there for the people that we need to have. So if somebody's gonna come in and truly do it and not ask for any compensation, that's great. It helps the town, but we can't expect that either.
Right.
Aside from that, I won't speak to the moderator wages because Terry did that.
Well, you're gonna have the I mean, you're increasing the ballot clerks. I would think that you'd increase the moderator as well as, and sometimes I have to fight with some people to even take their, but I have to put it in the budget.
Right.
So you're 12 cents an hour now? So you're 15 cents an hour?
Right. Right.
What's special meeting recount?
So a special meeting is if, for some reason, the town side has to do a special meeting for whatever reason. We haven't had to deal with that. A couple of years ago, we had a state rep that passed away, and we had to have a special meeting for that. So we don't have to pay for the ballots or anything in that case, but we do have to pay for the workers. So, and this is, like I said, only on the town side. This is not the school side, it's just the town side.
So it just looks bad because, and you need new machines, plus it's 4 elections, but then it'll drop back down to
Exactly.
normal levels.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because in town, we establish funds for almost everything. Well, not almost everything, but for a number of things now. I don't know if it's an option, but if you could level fund, if you could come up with a 4-year number, because we have so many elections next year, and then like for the example, this year was 1, you constantly get that roller coaster. I don't know if you could create a fund for it where you could just level fund it, kind of like you do with Avatar and things like that.
You can create an expendable trust fund for almost anything.
That's what I was
Oh.
thinking.
Isn't this something, though, that we said that, what if they voted no on it when you and I talked about it, or?
You can't not hold state elections.
You have
It's
to hold
state
them.
law.
That's just
So,
it. You
Yeah, you'd have
to do
to
it.
fund it. There'd be no.
It would just make it so that the fund didn't get established, correct?
Right.
Correct.
It doesn't really help us this year,
No.
but just a thought.
This is a thought.
It's
Most municipal budgets, this is the problem. You always see the town clerk or election.
Yeah.
Go up and
I
down.
mean, it's unfortunate because in reality, if you took the machines out of here, you're looking at, say, 21,000. This year's budget, we're at 8,000. You'd like to think a 5 million, is it still $5 million budget for the town? $7 million budget for the town. You'd like to think it could swallow a $12,000 difference, but obviously with the inflation rates the last few years, it's impossible to assume that anything can be swallowed up.
Not gonna work at all. Okay.
So, I don't know if Terry has anything else, but we tried to give you the best numbers we could as
Yeah.
to what we need and want.
I think it's a good budget.
It's just tough, because you
I
go
know
from
my
four
other
to
group
one.
will be ready for it.
I'm sure.
Defend it.
Well, I have to say this, like, the voting machines have been an issue for the last 3 years, on and off, all through more than that, since I've been here, more than that. And I must say that since the 1980s vintage, most people don't have cars that old. Yeah, there's a select few. Okay, but I'm just saying, we've done well with these machines, considering how many pieces of paper we've gone
Yeah.
through.
I mean, these machines gave us problems when I was a selectman,
I know,
and that was
recently,
over 5 years ago.
I know.
And that's when I got out, and I did it
Well,
for 7
the-
years before that, so.
The machines, I mean, they don't really, they give us problems when it comes to absentee ballots.
Yeah.
Other than that, they don't really give us too many problems. It's the
The
folding
fold.
of the machines. These new machines, we folded and folded and folded, and these new machines are much better. They look the same, but they print out, they scan. They're not hooked up to anything,
Right.
it's basically the same. There's a memory card. I have had issues with the memory card once or twice, but you always have an extra memory card to put into the machine. They, I mean, they count the ballots. Like I said, we had one year where we had an election during COVID, and we had 2,400 absentee ballots. So considering how old these machines are that we've been using, they've done pretty well for.
And that's a good
For what
point.
we-
I mean, to build off of that, these machines don't have a problem counting the votes.
No.
They have a problem processing a ballot that has been folded and it's the mechanisms inside that, so
Exactly.
it scans, it reads it, it's what happens afterwards that's always the problem. Because they
Which
can
these
jam
are
at the
advanced.
bottom, or the shift, the butterfly thing doesn't flip over when it's supposed to go into the write-ins. So then that's when we have to sit on the floor and go through the ballots and make sure that we have all the write-ins.
We'll get seats for you this year.
So, that's the problem. Just to be clear, it's not the
Right.
counting that we have a problem with the machine, it's the processing of the ballot afterwards.
Right. Right.
How do the write-ins work on this one?
So these machines, both of them, if there is a write-in, these machines actually scan now. So they'll print a report, and the report will read the names. So if somebody writes Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse or whoever, that will print on the report. Those will be put into a separate bin into the machine. It's a big box. And it gets put into a separate machine. If somebody overvotes, so they vote for, there's one position for selectmen, they vote for 2. they're gonna put it into the machine is gonna push it back out and say, you overvoted, see a selectman or, you know, the moderator. And then it will go into a separate part of the box that all of those have to be counted. And then at the end of the night, when we run the report that shows who the write-ins are, it will match what's in that part of the box with what's on that sheet.
Saves a lot of time.
It saves a lot of time.
It should prevent the 12
Absolutely.
o'clock at night,
Yes.
1 o'clock in the morning timeframes
Yep.
where we have
Because you're not going
troubles with
through
that.
and writing everybody's name down and then the machine does it, and if 10 people vote for Donald Duck, you're gonna pull out those ballots, and there's 10 right there that match that report. So, and if it's an overvote, they voted for the same person twice, it puts it into a separate bin, and then those will have to be counted. But it's a lot less than going through, 3,000 ballots at the end of the night and trying to figure out which ones go where. So.
I think the other was the postage for the absentees, right? So the postage,
Postage has gone up again. It went up twice this year. It was 63 cents and now it's 66 cents. Last year when we did, in March when we did absentee ballots, it was 98 cents to mail the ballot out to the residents. And if we have 200 of those, or however many we have, we had to increase the postage line for mailing those out, so.
And obviously, for presidential, that's gonna be a much higher number. The last presidential is tough to gauge off of because we had that
We had so
thing we
many.
don't wanna talk about.
So
that
for
we were dealing with.
presidential, and I don't know if you know, for presidential, if somebody has moved out of the United States, moved to Canada, they have dual citizenship or whatever, they can still use their Litchfield address to get a ballot. We have to mail them a ballot. It's legal, they still have citizenship. If they're overseas or they're, and they don't know when they're coming back or whatever the case is, they can still use their Litchfield address if they didn't register anywhere else, and we would still have to mail them. And we do have an increased number of those, especially with a primary and a presidential election. So.
It's not a lot of money for what it does.
no.
It gets used 4 times a year sometimes,
20, 30
sometimes
years,
once.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I mean, the $12,000 for the integrity of the
Right.
election and the
It's-
speed and the
it's gotta
safety to
work.
get people home.
Yeah.
and-
Well, they also save us money too, because you're not there all hours of the night,
Well,
to a degree.
I truthfully think the biggest thing about these machines is that, as Kim had said, Ms. Queenan had said, is the fact that they're going to sunset.
Yeah,
So
there's no doubt,
if you push them off this year, you might have no choice next year.
right?
So, and then you're stuck at the end of the line to wait to get them, and then you hope that they come in time.
You gotta put your order in.
So-
Basically, that's what needs to be done now.
Right.
Okay,
All right.
Do we wanna do,
then there's tax collection and town clerk. Most of
You're
these
done?
departments
Are
are
we
gonna
going now?
see very,
what would you like to do
I'm gonna take
first?
this, you want to have that.
You wanna do town clerk or tax first?
Oh,
Good luck.
41
Thank you, everyone.
41,
Take care,
40,
Steve.
That's town meeting. Do you want this? This is the other page too, town meeting. Those are both, they're 2 different pages, just so you have it. Okay,
Town clerk?
town clerk it is.
and who is this?
So this one, the wages, we just kind of didn't do anything with those right now. The overtime, there is an increase in the overtime. With 4 elections, the deputy is hourly. And we put in for her to work, I believe it was 5 hours for each election.
5 hours.
Yep, 5 hours of overtime per election, and there's 4 elections. Health insurance, dental insurance, I don't do those. Software, their numbers are not out yet, but when I called them and asked them, they said, you know, to be on the safe side, you add a 5% increase, and that's what I did there. Dues and subscriptions, there's the town clerk and for both myself and the deputy. And then there's the New England Town Clerk Association. I'm not sure if we did that one this year or not, but,
There's really no numbers that jump out at you as being a large
No.
increase here, so.
there isn't really any. The printer cartridges, I think, last year when Laura and I went to the conference, there was somebody there that, offered toner cartridges for a lot less than what we were getting them for. So we got his card and we've been ordering from him, and they've been great cartridges, and so that decreased a little bit. The dog tags and dog licenses, we have 2,000 dogs. So there was a little bit of an increase in the dog tags, and then the shipping. Postage, again, postage went up. So we have the postage amount going up. And those are the mail, you know, someone does their registration online. They actually pay $1 when they do them online. So that kind of comes back in, but it's, you know, shows going, we still have to mail them back out to them. And then mileage and tolls, and then the seminars, those are pretty much the same. Did we want to talk about the registration thing, or do you want to wait on that?
We can,
Increase.
while you're here, if you'd like, so I did have it, to bring up,
Okay.
and I'll let you go ahead, start with the.
So, in a lot of the towns surrounding just a lot of towns, what they're doing now is, and they've been doing it for a few years, I know we brought this up a couple of years ago, they're adding a $5 charge to the registrations. And what that does is it goes into a special account for the roads. So there are a lot of, we have rentals, we have a lot of houses now that have 5-6 vehicles in the yards, you know what I mean? It would be $5 for each of those vehicles. That money doesn't go into the general fund, it goes into a fund that is to pay for roads. So it would kind of offset, like if the road agent comes forward and he needs $200,000 to fix the roads, that $5 per vehicle can come off of that amount. Like I said, other towns are doing this. It kind of helps with the road maintenance. And it was something that Kim and I discussed. So I didn't know if it was something that the board wanted to consider doing.
How many cars do we typically register a year?
Do you have those numbers?
I don't. So this is, commercial and so we actually, I think there's a number of towns now, that have done it. This came into effect at least 3 years ago. It's passenger and commercial, with the exception of all-terrain vehicles, and antique motor vehicles. So the $5 gets put into a fund, and we can get the exact calculations based on 2022, 2023 numbers. And it can only be used for road maintenance. I mean, that's basically, it was the whole reason that the legislature passed it. You know, I think it's a small amount. People don't really notice it in their vehicle registrations. But it gave municipalities another way to raise funds for roads and maintenance.
The state does already.
The state uses a portion. It would require, though, a vote.
Okay.
We'd have to adopt.
Yep.
Well, the cynic in me says it sounds like another tax.
It practically is.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, they're paying it I mean, I pay too, but,
Right. It's coming out of
we're
the-
paying it anyway. It's going to help, I think, help with the tax cap, because then the amount that he's requesting is a little bit less than, you know, because we have this other fund that no one else can use. I mean,
I
It
would
would
like
be
to look at,
for-
I like to look at how many cars you do, trucks, whatever. And, you know, the numbers, there, so we get a number. The cynic, yes, I am too. But on the other hand, it helps with the tax cap, which I feel is important, okay? And two, the roads, every time there's a subdivision or something else, we got more road maintenance we still have to do, okay? And I think that's one way of making it work a little bit, okay?
so when I looked at some of the numbers, I think I looked at them so far this year, and I think it came out to like $65,000 that would go
Right.
into that account. So,
Okay.
but it's just something, you know, it's not something that, it's something for the board to consider, you know what I mean? Another way to kind of help with,
It's like the
With the tax
taxes in the
cap.
first place, it's an income, okay? To keep other costs down
Right.
each year. So it's
we're gonna pay it one way or another, but
gonna come one way or the other.
I mean, what percentage of our property taxes goes to road maintenance now? Huh?
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah, it's all road, it's all,
And by warrant
it's
article?
all, no, it's all state funds. It's all highway funds.
So to do the
highway
roads
block
in
grant.
town, it's all through state?
All through state.
You're just looking to make money here.
No, but eventually,
I think
that's
it's a good
not
idea.
We had a
forever.
warrant article for $200,000
Yeah, yeah.
that we stopped doing because of the fire station.
Yeah.
It was never reimposed. So, yes, there is, you know, we have a $10,000 asphalt line in the budget. Was 20, it was cut last year to 10,000. So, like, the zero isn't really a factual number, but it's less than a penny per 1,000 if you look at it, so. You know, every cent that's spent on the roads in town, other than that
Highway
$10,000 comes from the state.
Highway block.
It's your car registration you're talking about, your birthday tax that you get in the mail?
Your
You
car
see
registration.
state, federal, and now we'll see local.
The hotel taxes.
Well, it's based off the same idea, and they're trying to do this more and more. It's like pay to play, right? You're using the roads.
Yep.
It's based on the vehicle that you are using the roads for, right? And so there's just been more, and it's actually been more accepted to think of it and to base your revenue for those sources off of the actual, versus your property taxes. You may or may not have 5 cars or 10 cars, but your property taxes are going, right?
It's more than $10 a year in my case.
So, except antique vehicles aren't,
Motorcycles,
That's why I-
antiques,
motorcycles,
you know.
all terrains, yeah. So,
So we ought to get, what's classified as an antique now, 25 years, Bobby?
25.
79 and below.
What's that?
I think it's 1979 and below right now.
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
I gotta go find
RSA
one.
259, I don't know.
I think that they get a classic plate, it's 79 and below, I believe.
You're gonna see a lot of old plates in town.
We're all trying to do our part to, and that's what some of the towns are doing, so it was just something that I brought up in case somebody, in case it was something that the town wanted to
Yeah.
consider or not.
Something to talk about.
I think it had,
Of course you do. So does that mean that you're gonna cut your budget $65,000?
Yes,
No, because I don't have any paving money coming out of my budget.
Right.
It's a win-win.
What I will not do is go for a warrant article for 200,000 for a paving.
there.
I used to count on that.
Not having it or having it?
No, having it,
Yeah.
Great. Well, this will cut that down to
$135,000.
$135,000.
It's just $5 compared to 200,000.
Right?
But trying to find alternative revenue
just
sources
it.
is
It's not
a
easy.
great thing. I mean, at some point, you gotta look at municipal fees too. So, is the cost of getting a building permit the same as it was 15, 20 years ago? I mean, everything goes up, and so most of the budgets, you're gonna see a very small 3%, which was the salary increase that was agreed upon for July 1st. That's a very small amount. Most of the health insurance numbers, remember, we're not looking at an increase at this point because we haven't got the information. So, you might have some census changes, people electing different things, but you're not seeing an increase there. And most of the increase you're gonna see within these budgets is so small, unless there's a specific item or a reason, like the election machines and things of that sort, that are pushing it up.
When is the housing reassessment next year?
Reval
People are gonna see a big
2025.
tax break, or tax hike on their homes, right? Saying. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Your tax rate will go down. but
Tax rate goes down, but
If-
houses
if
are
the
assessed so
evaluation
high.
goes up, but
Yeah.
if the evaluations go down, the tax rates.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
won't.
we're-
It won't.
starting
You're
to-
only at 72%
Yeah.
of market value. Yeah, it's not going
Market's starting
down.
to correct itself.
You think?
it won't come
No.
down.
Not by then.
Nope.
Nope.
The 86 year, the year that happened, then, was 1986 when the market did this. the
Yeah.
Sales.
And was it 92,
3, I think it was,
93
Yep.
before it came back?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do.
So was there, tax collector was,
We don't really have anything
you don't
in-
really have any.
Let's
We
go
don't
in-
have any changes in tax collector, really.
Let's go in there anyway.
Good.
4150-40.
Yep.
Where's tax?
Was really nothing, just the changes in the wages.
Postage.
on
Yep, that's
And the
postage.
postage.
Yep.
Postage is always
Yeah.
a big one, yeah.
That's it.
And then the support, but we don't know what that's gonna, that may not increase, it may, but we put it in there just in case.
And
Hopefully it
postage is
doesn't.
like
But
everyone
health
else.
and dental could change.
Yeah.
Fuel costs for
Right.
the postal business is up too, you know?
No, it's good, they're good numbers.
Imagine if they had all electric cars.
No, thanks.
Okay,
So that's it.
Okay.
thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, thanks for coming in.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad I could be of assistance.
All right.
Mr. Mellon.
It's your
So
turn.
Dave is here.
Dave, it's your turn.
And again, I'll tell you,
Nothing.
there's very little here, and this is a very tough, market to plan for. So my hat is off to Dave. He knows these numbers, in and out. He actually, sent me a comparison between July of 2022
4321.
in July of 2023. And it's very small change, but it's an actual decrease, in the tons and the cost for MSW. And then C and D, there was an increase in the tons, but a decrease in the cost, so that's,
Mhm.
Dave knows his numbers left and right, and there's really not a lot of increase. They've had a small change in personnel.
Disposal. Solid waste disposal, I mean, but that, you can't control that.
Right.
Sanitation administrator?
Excuse me?
No, everything looks good.
Some of these budgets are so tight that really there
It's
isn't.
exact. There's
Yeah.
the best I can do.
Okay, just,
And there are the links there. There's, some small fuel, which we did supply the numbers. The diesel cost actually went down a little. Gallons usage has gone up a little, so, they're very small increases compared to what we've seen in prior years, especially last year.
for 2.32.
Yeah, I mean, be hard pressed to argue with the numbers.
Yeah, I still think we're coming down a little bit from the pandemic a little bit on the numbers where they went through the roof. I think they're starting to level off to
That's good,
pre-pandemic numbers for us.
yeah,
Very good, David.
yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
You had to sit longer than you had to present.
I
Did
didn't want to
everybody
present,
see
I
the new
wanted to
sign?
I haven't seen.
You haven't been up to see the new sign?
No, we haven't been there yet this week.
It wasn't in when I took my pool in.
No.
What happened? Pool filled out?
Yep. With a tractor. Okay, you good?
I'm good.
You're good, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Always thank you.
Mr. Brown,
Thanks, David.
That's how it's going.
appreciate it.
Well, yeah, sure. It's gonna go that quick, yeah, absolutely. I don't think we'll be
There's always
that.
gotta be a bump in the road, so.
That's it. Here it comes. You ready?
No, this is the easiest one.
Oof.
Oh,
So, road agent,
Down $230.
how do you like that? That's Karen figuring out the propane prices for us.
Very good.
Yeah, so it basically stayed the same, exactly the same, $230,
Yep.
and that's propane costs.
Okay.
You jump over to road maintenance. Basically, we have, just like most departments this time of year, we have a lot of missing information. The wage increases of the 3%, increases, selectmen approved. And then the healthcare, I'm sure we're gonna button that up by October or something, right, usually? We have a couple minor
Gotta-
increased,
In the middle of October.
middle of October is usually when, yeah.
Overtime?
Most everything is just exactly the same as it was last year. We get down to, general supplies went up a little bit. Vehicle fuel, usage, cost. Believe it or not, everybody says we had an easy winter last winter, but we went out probably 6 more times than normal because of these three.
Nuisance storms.
Yeah, nuisance, 3 days long, ice, continuous. I'd rather have a 24-hour snowstorm than a 3-day, 3-inch ice storm. So fuel costs went up a tad. We don't get a salt price till probably the beginning of October, September, October.
Yep.
So we're gonna hold right now at $79.22 a ton. Same tonnage. I'm sure if the budget committee and I will have a little discussion on how much we have and how much we use, and, that's, once again, like we say every year, it's a roll of the dice. You go 3-year average, you do the best you can, and you hope it's enough.
I think as much rain as we've had this year, if that turns to snow, we're in trouble.
Well, if you looked at the Farmer's Almanac, Kev sent it to me already.
Usually pretty good.
It's not looking good. If we get the type of precipitation we're getting now with cold weather, we're gonna be Eskimos.
Well, it's about time we got back to normal.
Sledding in the streets, Kev.
Yeah.
It used to happen. One question, I do have a question on health insurance.
Yeah.
You dropped your number down, right?
Yeah,
Why?
there was a change in census from the new one that was hired.
Okay.
Status
So
change.
you're comfortable with that?
Well, we'll get the increase, but that is for the census right now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're comfortable with it.
Well, like
Meaning the
like
switch
anything,
from,
it's gonna,
single
the increase will
family.
come in and we'll decide at that point. They'll
Yeah.
factor it out again.
Well,
Well,
tell them they can't get married.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a change.
No married,
in-
no kids.
in status,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
They can only change when they have a life event, so,
right.
I mean, that's bottom line. It happens
Right.
everywhere.
right.
And, the new employee is young and I don't see a marriage coming anytime soon, so. I don't know.
Next year.
Who knows, nowadays.
And I do wanna, give credit to Heather Sneeman, our bookkeeper, who has been tracking all year so that we have really good numbers on propane, diesel, the toilets,
All over.
through rec.
Gasoline.
Gasoline. She's been tracking all this so that we could look at it in real numbers, for this budget, so hats off to her, 'cause that's.
So the only other thing Kim mentioned before was the truck lease. This grant is part of the VW payout that they made. Hopefully, we can get involved in that and replace 2 of the older trucks. The 2000 International, it's sitting down there with a hub off. I'm having a hard time finding parts for it. You know what I mean? It's just a hard vehicle to get parts for. It's a hard vehicle to get a driver for. So that, even if we got one out of this, would be a good deal. We want to keep that lease line in as long as we can. Hopefully go to warrant and ask for another truck and just keep that in without having to change the budget or ask, to increase again. But overall, as of right now, without any of the other changeable variables, we're below. So I think we can make it work.
Looks good.
So we've been talking about it and, the new asset management system for, the catch basins and MS4 is going great. But as we want to be prepared for items to come up, and there's significant MS4 permit changes, and more requirements that we're looking at. We're working with CEI engineers right now on some of those. We didn't increase it in the budget, and thankfully, because Kevin's managed his budget so well, it's worked out that we had enough to help us through this MS4 preparation. But we know how expensive these items can get.
And that's coming out of the engineering line under road agent. So we've been talking about it for years. Stormwater management's not gonna get any cheaper. It's just gonna get more involved. It's gonna start involving, Kim and I have had lengthy discussions on this. It's gonna start involving other departments, conservation planning. So it's gonna get bigger and bigger. So we just need to prepare for it, and I think we're on the ball. We got it.
Yep.
But we just, there are gonna be increases for engineering costs that we're gonna have to look at down the road. And this, once again, I know everybody says it's important, but this is stuff that we cannot not do, because then we'll get fined if we don't get it, and then, one way or another, they're gonna pay for it.
And there's some areas within Litchfield, in talking with DES, they have planning grants that come up in January and February, and they've invited to help us at least submit a grant for that, for a couple areas that have significant outflows, so.
I can't even tell you how comprehensive it is and how much work is involved. It's absolutely insane. Towns like, cities like Nashua and Manchester have departments and people who take care of this daily. But it's a lot of work, and Kim's footing 90% of it. We do the stuff outside, but the paperwork end, she's handling all that, and it's huge.
I know where I work part-time, they put on an engineer that's been doing some of this work. Okay, is doing it, going through the whole thing. And I know the highway department where they're going through the same stuff.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and they got a lot of folks in sewer and water department, but it's a lot of work, and we have meetings about it there still.
Yeah.
The group, the whole groups.
We have a lot of waterways, we have a lot of outflows.
Yep. Stormwater management is not as easy as it sounds.
And like I was saying, it has to do with other, planning. The planning board has to get involved in, because someday it's gonna be, how do you plan a new,
Correct.
and, new areas, and to not affect the stormwater, and it's just gonna get bigger and bigger.
Is this not any of the SIP stuff?
Well, this is, no, so one of the things that we're working with CEI on is, in year 4, there should have been a regulatory review. And we didn't, we put it off to year 5 now. Year 5's here, and now we have to do it. So Nick Christophe he's done this with other municipalities. He's going to come in and he's going to work with planning, my office, the road agent, zoning, and we're gonna have to go through all of the regulations, the master plan, the zoning ordinance, all of that, and demonstrate that Litchfield has the policies and regulations in place to meet the permit. And so it's a process, and I'd feel much better having someone that's gone through it. Sometimes you see town planners that know this, but I think in this aspect here, we're better off having a contractor that's,
Is that something down the line?
but he will, it's coming right up,
So that'll
so.
keep the SIP plan available for the infrastructure.
Well, we can show you what we're having the engineering company do for us. There was a quote and there's a bid, and it's just legwork that we don't have the time or the ability to do, or even the knowledge at this point.
Getting the permits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question? Because I'm not in the budget like Robert is,
Oh,
but
sure.
we had that Pilgrim Drive issue.
Yes,
That was expensive, I'm assuming, to fix that.
that was.
How are we in
So-
shape in case we had another issue like that?
Well, as of right now, like we spoke, I'm leaving it the way it is right now for the winter. To see it, let it settle, it has just as a binder coat over the section that we excavated. I don't want to, go and pave it out and dig out the rest of it just yet. So we're gonna wait for the winter. My intent next year with the paving money is to do Chase Brook, Larry and Jeff. So right around the corner is Pilgrim. So I would incorporate that into the paving plan. You know what I mean? So I'll have Continental come down and grind it and repave that section.
That's a patch area.
But I'd like to let it sit for the winter and just verify that we don't have any other issues.
Have it in the budget.
I'm sorry?
You have it, looks like, in the budget. You're prepared for it.
Oh, we're prepared for it, yeah. We still have money from the ARPA money, well, I don't call it the ARPA money, from the federal grant. We still have some money left in there for culverts and repairs, so we could use that. Or my intent is to use it part of the paving, because we're gonna be in that section right around the corner from it. And I just, incorporate that in.
Do we see any that may falter in the future?
No, actually, we're in pretty good shape. I mean,
Just didn't want to surprise
You know,
$40,000 bill.
it's all invisible, it's all underground. You know what I mean? It's kind of a reactionary type thing. We do inspections, we go in there, we look, you know what I mean? We clear them. We do the best we can with what we have. We're clearing beavers out and getting rid of beaver dams, and we just caught a good 65-pounder up on Brenton the other day. And
What about that picture?
oh yeah, you saw that? Yeah, he was a big guy. But they do damage. They back stuff up, and I hear people all over. Brenton gets backed up, and people up in Lund are telling me, "Oh, it's backing up in my backyard."
It's famous up there.
Yeah.
It's famous. That crossover, there's two of them in that area. You go up through there. The beavers are loving you,
Yeah.
okay?
So we're trapping. We're actively trapping, and it's saving us a lot of money with having to get outside contractors. I know everybody on TV. Sorry, but we have to.
It's allowed by,
They're a nuisance.
Well, we are licensed. We are licensed trappers. We're licensed nuisance trappers. We do it humanely. We're not out there catching anything other than beavers, but they are damaging. And I had someone just on Cranberry, call the other day and says anything he can do, but out in the Cranberry bog, out behind the swamp, there's a 300-foot one out there, and there's no way for me to get to it, and other than in the winter when everything freezes, to walk out there, which, it's at the top of your list in the middle of the winter, things to do.
Yeah.
But that's stuff that we have.
plow
That's
a
stuff that
road
we have to
through
do.
it, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna drive the orange truck out there.
We'll plow around to it.
But that's, so that's the work that we're doing, and that's all. So we're at every culvert weekly, daily, so the most of it, we're watching them.
Just in case.
We repaired we repaired the road down at the end of Albuquerque just before Cranberry this year in the paving. We talked about that.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, we're on it. We're watching. Brickyard, that's when it's clear.
Except up behind my house.
See, there's
There's a
another one.
beaver.
It's always somebody. They're everywhere. It's terrible. They really are.
Beavers, I've seen little trees cut down now.
Yeah, they make little,
It's okay,
they make little punji sticks. You're afraid to
Yeah,
walk out there.
you
Yeah.
walk out there like, oh,
You're
okay.
on Brickyard, right, the backyard?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
on Nesson
They've been there for years.
Fortunately, there's been bobcats in the area. It's nature.
I had a
Rabbits.
red-tailed
Seen a lot of
hawk
rabbits
come
this
down.
year. Lots and lots of
Yeah,
rabbits.
lots of rabbits.
I got one red-tailed hawk that combs the area. He's got 4 rabbits in my yards in the last 3 weeks,
Really.
okay? My wife's mad at him.
We have the owls down that way. Yeah, they are beautiful. You sit up there and look at you. So that's highways budget. We're basically holding the line. We are gonna ask for trucks,
Warrant article.
maybe.
So we have,
Bought you 2, 3.
we're working on, and talking a lot about warrant articles so that we can bring them to you before you're done with this process. And the budget committee is asked for, by December 15th. So that's gonna be some, I think, conversation that needs to be had, because you also, as we've talked about, if the RFP for the cemetery maintenance comes in high, we really need to look at the cost of bringing it in-house, maybe combining it with some other needs that we have, trying to at least combine some services and get some efficiency that way.
That's, yeah.
we did a lot of work down the cemetery. I don't know if anybody's been down there, but, the one down behind the church, I met Mr. Calloway down there, and he said, "Oh, we got this overgrown, bittersweet," and we went over and looked, and inside the bittersweet bundle was a headstone, and there were 3 more covered in the far corner, so we cleaned that all up. We got all that bittersweet out, and we're gonna go back once we get the head for the New Holland, which we haven't received yet. We're gonna go back, and we're gonna do all the back corner, and I cut a couple trees up on Hillcrest for them. But, we're helping out when we can. I know their budget's tight,
Yes. They have no budget.
yeah, so we're doing what we can to help them out. But, it's one of those pick-away things, a little bit at a time. Got a couple hours, we go down, we'll clean up some and come back.
Appreciate that.
So you still haven't gotten
appreciate
the
that.
head for the tractor yet?
No, I'm not expecting until the end of this month.
Oh.
It was 9 weeks after we paid for it,
Okay.
so I'm still kind of waiting on that.
All
And,
good things take time.
Yeah, well, gonna run out of time.
I think you're good then.
It looks
Okay.
good, thank you.
Thank you. The rail fight's gonna come in budget, right? Bobby will be there to cover for us. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Good night, Kev.
This is the easy part.
This is,
This is easy. Street lighting.
Street lighting.
Street lighting is one of the electric costs that we're tracking. And you are still seeing a benefit from the LED.
Oh, yeah.
So it's still trending down.
Yep.
Go another 800 off.
Good.
I think you're gonna come out between around 7.
Yep.
I think so.
We don't wanna take any chances, but I think that's where you're gonna come
Yeah.
out.
It's good.
When you look at where it was,
Yeah.
Yep.
where it is now, that's a really good
They're
trend.
definitely much brighter, too.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yep. Okay,
And so
counting,
counting is white.
where is, what is accounting? We gotta get some.
Towards the
numbers.
front.
What?
It's towards the front, the 4150.
Towards the front?
4150?
Yeah.
415010.
So you'll see a decrease in mine because we moved the office assistant out of our budget and into the selectmen's budget.
That's Heather, right?
Donna.
Oh, Donna, that's right, I'm sorry.
So, with that, it was the benefits that went along with it. Software support, you'll see go up we went cloud-based for our payroll.
Yep.
So that increased a little bit, and then our fixed assets.
Yep.
Mileage and tolls, we've just, a lot of it for zoning has been getting charged to my budget.
Yep.
So we increased that a little bit, and
Should it be charged to yours?
that's about it. Zoning doesn't have mileage in it.
Yeah.
No, they really don't.
Mm-mm.
Most of the departments, so.
And you're comfortable with postage staying the same?
Yeah, actually, because we email a lot of payroll now. So even with the increase, I think we'll be okay.
Any questions on this one? Very good. Okay,
All right.
property evaluation is the next one I have listed here.
It's the same, so property evaluations is the same where we're putting the amount, aside. And of course, we just said, do you have your reevaluation in 2025? So you have the cost of Avatar and the assessing software that has gone up a small amount. And then later in the, which I could mention it now, so the state DRA was down and they did their cyclical review. That's when they come in and they take a portion of Avatar's inspections and they check them. Generally for residential, You wanna see them find less than 6 errors, or what they call points, and points are given on different things, whether you missed a deck or whether you know, measured the square footage of the house wrong. And there were only 2 points found, in their allotment, so.
That's pretty good.
That is good. So I would say that your Avatar is doing a good job. And we know they're keeping up with the permits and the inspections and things. It's just, you know, we don't have that much. We're gonna get a lot busier.
One project.
As you see some of these larger projects start to take place.
Got 2 coming down the road. You'll keep them busy.
Okay. Next, we have Board of Selectmen.
You have a budget?
You do have a
We do.
budget. So not many changes, the same change that, Karen just spoke about with the switch of Donna. And then really the health insurance came over for,
Yeah.
with the employee, and that's about it, everything else remains the same.
So the wage increases are included in that?
The contracted wage, the wage increase, yes, is in there.
For both of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Makes sense, yeah.
So
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
now you have legal expenses, which you're going to see that I actually went through, and because some cases are now closed, I tried to get an average cost of what I would call just normal legal services. Not sure that can be estimated, but looking at in the past and at the things that we have on the horizon to do. So we have some policy and things that we want to look at. We thought we could at least reduce it to that amount. You're going to see later that with the Mitchell Group, Mr. Mitchell retired.
Yep.
And Laura Spector Morgan is now going to be the lead in that agency.
That's great, but it may be a change for somebody to take over for some, is she still gonna be able to work with us? Good?
Yes,
Good.
she
Yep.
and Mr. Attorney Driscoll and
So,
Okay,
Attorney Butterfield. So we felt good with that,
Yep.
and we'll see where we come out.
Okay.
Welfare vendor payments, so, I mean, really, that's a trust fund that we did, raise by warrant article. You know, we wanna say that we've had a little bit more activity, but probably about $5,000, in overall that activity so far this year. But it was one that we were concerned about when we talked about having a warrant article
Yep.
for last year.
I don't see welfare. What number do you have for that?
So it's
A lot of fours in there. Hold on.
4445.2.
Elevate? No.
Vendor payments.
Vendor payments.
Yeah, right
Okay.
next to it.
You tricked me.
Yeah. That's what DERA calls
I
it.
never thought welfare was a vendor.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there you can see it's, you know, about
Okay.
$5,000
Yep.
in too, so we'll see. We have the, trust fund.
Yep.
I wouldn't
Yep.
recommend any changes for,
Nothing, leave it alone.
I made to print this out. Patriotic purposes is your, Memorial
Memorial Day parade.
Day. I spoke with, Historical Society, and Mr. Callaway, and it was agreed, to leave it at the 2,000.
Okay. There you go.
That was
Mm-hmm.
that. And
That is the last one that you had for tonight.
What was it?
Debt,
Debt,
472310.
right. So you'll notice in the principal, in 2023, the budget committee cut 25,000, which we took from fire impact fees. The board approved that just a couple of months back. We've budgeted it back at its full.
Yep.
Principal.
Yep.
It's something that you might want to consider.
Should leave it.
Should we need it?
You got it.
I mean, I think there's still a number of items that haven't come in yet.
Yep.
We would like to take, IT tonight, if that is okay
That was gonna be my question.
with you.
If you're ready.
I
You are, okay.
Was this an add-on?
It's due to my schedule conflict that I thought I communicated, but I probably overlooked it.
No, that's-
You're
So
over on
I
vacation.
appreciate it. I like attending when you're punching tired, punch drunk and tired. So
What
it's more
number is
fun.
that one?
4150.20.
Yeah, 420. Hopefully it'll be real quick. I have everything here in front of me, so I can kind of run right through it, but when you're ready, let me know.
4150-20.
There you go.
Some of us are not in IT, so we're a little slower than
That's okay.
the rest of you guys.
As you can see.
It's also the hour of the day, too. Anyway, I'll get started, I guess. Unfortunately, my budget is up over last year's budget. It's coming in at it's up over $25,000, and it's due to a couple areas that are unique because of the timing of it. We'll start with wages, 110. This is based on my contract, my employment contract.
Yep.
This is year 4 this will be year 4 of the 5-year contract. It equates to $1.50 a day increase. So that's what that is all about. I stress this all the time, as it would probably knows, I do about 38 to, I won't even discuss it, but per week. I'm happy to do it, and I continue to do it, and I will not complain about that part of it.
For $1.50 a day, you could feed John.
It's not even enough to buy a cup of coffee, that's the problem.
Yeah,
And I have a
get
coffee
coffee.
habit too, which is the real problem.
Those infomercials?
Yes.
For the most part, in the next one, 341, which is my telephone and data line, it's where we pay for all of our internet service, our wireless services, so on. It's up about $1,600. The biggest driver in that is Comcast, and it's really driven by the fact that I got to do some improvements over at DERA Pond's environment. It's got to go up, and the rest of it's held flat for the most part. And it's based on run rate too for the Consolidated and Verizon Wireless. In software support, which is 342. That is up 1306. It's really the drivers there was cloud storage is continuing to grow. I continue to move more and more of our data that's critical off-site, and that storage costs money to keep it off-site.
Yep.
So that's up a little bit, and then we also had to retire our old backup engine, which was a little bit more expensive than what we originally had. But it's kind of a wash when it comes to that.
Is that all cloud-based now, too, your backups?
So the backups are three. There's 3 types of backups. So we do regular incrementals every day. They take data and store it offsite in the next door.
Yep.
We do fulls we keep here. We push fulls up to the cloud. So we have full copies up in the cloud. So we try to keep the building burns down. We should be able to restore. Let's leave it that way. Okay. There's all, the smaller reduce was the web hosting, the rec commission's website, everyone will go away at the end of this year because it will not be renewed. So that's the small there, so. This is where they actually, the next line, which is 630, which is our equipment maintenance, this is where the increase is. The big driver for the equipment maintenance was, we're coming off of a 5-year prepay, and now we're going into a year-to-year. This was the network gear that we bought when we did the fire station build-out, and we refreshed all the network gear in this facility and across a lot of our smaller facilities. We had 5 years prepaid it, and now we need to do it, we need to move into a year after year, year over year. I tried to originally put it into 5 years, because I didn't want to see it again, but, 5 times that number is a big number, and the budget's already tough, so we brought it back down to a year, and we'll just keep it that way for now.
By that 5 years, that hardware is end of life.
Well, this is all switching gear it's actually fairly new. We bought it at the beginning of its life.
Oh, okay.
So we will get
Still
potentially
has-
another 5 years out of it. The only equipment that I would probably need to replace a little bit is maybe some of the access points, but the
Yep.
rest of the switching is fairly brand new. So that's what that is. That's an increase of $22,000. The other piece of it was our video and audio recorder, which is the recorder that does our over-the-air radio track recordings for public safety and our telephone recording for police department. That came off its warranty, and we had enough to pay for the maintenance going forward on that. That's software and hardware maintenance. And then the other thing was just more of a small increase due to run rate and experience. All of our doors around here are all in the security system. There's a lot of expensive key lock sets, and in the last couple of years, I've had 3, 4 things happen, doors get broken. The average price is about $400 a door to fix. Some of it I do myself, and I can buy the parts cheaper on Amazon. Some I can't, especially some electronic ones. So I've just basically added in a little bit more cost for that to cover it. This past year, I had a $900 key set go, a keypad go that had to be replaced. So just an example why. Equipment purchases is down, predominantly because I've moved some dollars around a little bit, but it's down a little bit. The only thing here is the computers that I buy. I do 5 computers every year as part of the refresh program for the 50 or so we have in sight. The cost has gone up, and most of the computers that are on target to be replaced the next year require a full set, new monitor, that kind of thing. And additionally, some of the software that we're running in these areas require the faster CPUs. They've got to go from i5s to i7s, and that's the issue there. So that's why it's up a little bit there. And that's about it on that line. And then moving to equipment leases, which is really equipment usage. This is the line item that covers the consumption of all of our multifunctions, which there are 3 in the building. It's $500 a quarter. It's based on what we've seen since we brought these new units on board, and that's where that increase was. So that's it. I wish I had better news and it was flat. I was hoping to be flat until I realized that I was at the end of the 5 years and I went, I'm not gonna be flat.
It's your last presentation with more money.
I know, hey.
It's actually a very small increase for IT.
Very small increase for
Yeah.
that. I agree with that.
And I mean, in 2025, there will be a capital investment that would have to happen at some point in time. But
Good to get that out there now.
yeah. A lot of our computers coming at the end of their life cycle.
Yep.
So we may squeak another year out of it, but 2025, I have to start thinking about it and think what we're gonna do. So,
Paper and pen needs to be cheaper.
is it? I don't know. But I appreciate you making the accommodation for me tonight.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I will be at the budget meetings to do my stuff there too, so.
You'll be at the budget
Good,
meeting
because
back
if you're
there.
asking me to explain any of this.
No, it's just that, really, like I said, I literally sat there this morning going, the next 2 selectmen meetings, I'm out of town and I'm committed someplace else, so I can't be here, so. But thank you very much. If there's any more questions, I guess I'll let you go, return to your schedule.
Anybody
Any
who
questions,
knows this
Mr.
stuff
Gannon?
have questions?
He said, wait, it's gonna get expensive.
We have to
This stuff's
rely
still
on
feeling
somebody
new.
here. Bob, he knows a lot of things. Steve, you know a little bit more about this.
Steve and Kim,
Nothing's
they're our
cheap.
IT to
Would
do
I,
it.
would I assume something just depreciation on the hardware, or are you just writing it off based on the money here? we're taking a write-off, but I just don't know how it's happening.
Well, none of the,
It would be based on the fixed
Just based on the
assets,
price, right?
Whatever the,
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Can you say that again?
I just wasn't sure if we were depreciating anything, or you just, as you pay for it, that's the write-off.
Well, 10,000 or more goes on to our fixed asset.
Okay, so you are
And
tracking
that,
it.
and that, you know, that's one of my softwares, and that depreciates it.
Trying to get some money, you know?
yeah,
individual destinations.
yeah,
don't
workstations,
qualify for
yeah,
that.
workstations
There's
don't
probably
qualify.
It's like
small.
one.
It's almost every 5 years we do a big depreciation, because what happens typically is we make a big investment to replace a lot of stuff, and it's $50,000 to $70,000, and
It's
that gets all put in the fixed assets, the rest of it all gets retired, so.
it's like buying a car, only lasts so long. It's the equipment, same idea.
So,
You know, it's how to look at it. You have to look at that.
Yeah, but with computer hardware, after a while, they say, no, we don't support that anymore.
Yeah.
right. That's the unfortunate part or a good part, I'm not sure. It's forced,
You
replacement.
get things off Amazon and eBay for cheaper and hope it works.
I do that still today, but yes.
So I was asked, by, you know, in conversation with CIP and some others, what would the cost of, a municipal website through one of the agencies that are out there? And it came up because all of the municipal managers were just talking about this at the same time, and they did an actual poll on what everyone uses, and of course Civic Plus was the one. So I called someone that I know at Civic Plus. You're looking at $20,000 to $25,000 to install, for them to come in and do a full installation of a website. Now, that would allow departments to, you know, perform their updates and things of that, but you're looking at a $5,000 storage year to year.
25,000 to install and 5K a year.
To design the whole,
Build the
Yeah.
CMS, get it all the templates in place, and then
Yep.
once it's
Training.
turned over, training, and then
everything.
at that point, the CMS is there and people can change it based on the templates.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do that now with what we're current platform. I think town clerk is probably gonna be one of the first ones. I mean, some of the other departments, the rec was doing it for a while in their own instance. Budget was doing theirs for a while too. But as people change hands, then it kind of weans off again, so
Yep.
it's not as consistent.
Yep.
But to your point, the CMS we have is a good CMS, but it's not bulletproof, you know what I mean? So you have me,
Do you think it can offset $5,000? I mean, it would provide consistency and ease of use, but
$25,000 to buy it first.
yeah, that's the,
And then all the time, all the labor is involved in getting it set up. It's not like it's turnkey. It takes a little bit to do that too, so. But, and the website, because Kim brought up the website's a very small part of what I do on a regular basis, honestly. I started out, that's what I started out almost 20 years doing for the town. And it's becoming more and more important, and I think, I like to think what we have is flexible. It's just a matter of getting it in there and getting it done, We've made a lot of changes. Since Kim came on board, we've made a ton of changes. And there's more to come. I have another draft of a bunch of changes for a bunch of the smaller departments that we're working with Kim and some of the other departments on too, so.
Everyone's become such a digital, everyone wants instantaneous information. And yeah, I mean, John and I and Building were just talking on Friday. We've had a request for even more information online.
it needs to be
It's
dynamic,
time-consuming.
no more static. It needs to be constantly refreshing itself.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. So,
The building
But
stuff is gonna be.
people wanted to know the cost, so I'm not sure that was good
Not a
news,
$1.50 a
but I
day.
put a cost to it.
Yeah, it's not $1.50 a day.
It's not $1.50 a day.
$1.50 a day.
Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Come in early too. Save us some time on the end.
Once a while.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we have town administrator and selectmen reports.
right, I'm gonna go really quickly, although the July trustees of trust fund report is down below. I loaded it up on the portal, so that you could see it and you'd have it there. I have to give, the Newells, a big thank you. And I saw, Mr. Newell here this evening. They are the ones that purchased the flowers and the shrubs and,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
then, we planted. And I think it makes a world of difference. It really does give a nice shape to that whole sitting area. So we have to thank them, for that. Then the highway department, for their work with the cemetery. I mean, that's huge. And that was not something they were gonna get out of their regular landscaper, so, we thank them for that. We're working, we mentioned the RSA on the registration fees, so I won't go into that. We're working on warrant article ideas. We have a few, in mind. The Department of Revenue and Administration sent over the cyclical inspection that I spoke about. So we're done with that. Your highway block grant is here, so your allocation, and that's the funds that we were just speaking about with the road agent that handle your paving, and that is down just a tad. So, but it's still, that's something we looked for at least $200,000, for the paving. It's 201, I think it was 203, that it, and this is, working through April of 2024.
Yep.
This is based on the state's fiscal budget, not ours.
Yep.
So you have that, the Mitchell Group letter that I spoke about, and then we have been sent a hearing notice, which we will give to our assessor, from the Board of Land and Tax Appeals, and this is one that has already been dealt with by the assessor, and we don't expect a problem here.
What is this about?
This is an assessment.
Assessment for what?
So this property before has been, fighting their assessment.
Yeah,
This is not new, and they have appealed it.
does it say what property?
I do know the property.
And you don't have to say it, that's fine.
I guess it's Sables.
Yes, it's Sables. And
It's on
Avatar's.
CBH.
Avatar's already.
That's fine.
It's the same one that we've already received. This is their third year. They did 2020, 2021, 2022.
Is this a new one?
Yeah, this is the, so that's that. And that is all that I have for you, other than,
All good news. Keep up the good work.
All right then, Selectmen reports, with Mr. Weber being out of town, our rec commission, and we won't be able to do a rec commission report.
And
So we'll go to,
I did not attend the school when I was I was working. I could not get there because it was during the day. And as for the rec commission, took a day
conservation.
conservation. I did not get that because I didn't get back from Somerville that day till after the meeting was halfway done
Okay.
due to traffic. And as for the emergency management one, I was down for the day. I did not want come on with a bug. I'll be honest.
All All right. Heritage Commission, Mr. Gannon.
We met last week. Two quick points. One is they're still waiting for the final draft of the communication, not communication, the artifact digging, bottle digging, that kind of stuff. They have been working with conservation and provided the land that they believe that is under conservation control, that they don't want anything dug on. And then they're taking a lot of initiative, possibly going to work with LCTV on trying to go to all the different historical sites in town, give a little speech about them, and maybe work with LCTV to record them. So then we'll have a little digital history of each building.
That'd be really nice.
That's it.
Okay. Next, Ms. Queenan, capital improvement, planning, et cetera, et cetera, et
All
cetera.
related to planning board. Planning board meets tomorrow, August 15th, here at the town hall at 7 PM. Capital Improvement Planning Committee, we meet August 21st, 6:30 PM at the fire station. We're going to start bringing in the department heads over there as well. Thank you. You didn't mention them, it'll be, well, I don't have to mention they're coming in. NRPC's full commissioner quarterly meeting meets June 20th at 7 o'clock PM, 30 Temple Street in Nashua. Moving on to the Economic Development Committee. We had our first meeting. Our next meeting will be August 30th, 6 to 8 PM here at the town hall. And those watching have homework assignments, chapters 2, 5, 6, and 9 of the master plan chapters. Good reading.
How many people just shut it off?
And the last one will be the Litchfield Energy Committee, which looks like we have a lot of great people there as well. So both committees are looking good, and they meet September 21st at the town hall, 6 to 8 PM. And that's what I have.
Oh, sorry, one item I forgot. I was, Superintendent Jettie let me know, that Peter Plansky has been, named the school representative to economic development.
Okay.
It's gonna be fun reading over there.
He's a good man. He's a good man. He'll do a good addition. All right. Budget Committee, we still haven't met yet. Meet next week, I believe.
Welcome back.
Yep. And the fun starts. So, all right. Is there anything else that anybody wants to discuss before we go into non-public? All right. Well, that will end this portion of our program. We have one non-public issue that we will, under RSA 91-A semicolon 3, comma 2, A in parentheses, dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee or the disciplining of such employee or the investigation of any charges against him or her unless the employee affected, 1, has a right to a meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. Do we have a motion to go into non-public?
I'll make a motion to go into non-public.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon,
Second it.
second by Mr. Lynch. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. At 8:40 PM, we'll be entering non-public. Everyone at home, be safe, be well. And
Stay dry.
see you soon. Yeah, definitely stay dry.